What you're about to hear is a personal account from a filmmaker who spent years observing human stories before experiencing something that changed her perspective. Hi everyone, I'm Emily. Welcome back to Esoteric Uplift. Let's begin today's testimony. My name is Temperance Osei. I am a 39-year-old documentary filmmaker from Toronto, Canada. My entire career has been built on one conviction: that if you look at human beings closely enough and honestly enough, you find something worth showing the world. I have filmed people in refugee camps, in boardrooms, in hospices, in prisons. I have spent 15 years believing that humanity is complicated and worth the complication. On a Wednesday afternoon in November, I drowned in 12 inches of water. And what I discovered about humanity in those 8 minutes changed every frame of every film I will ever make. Please subscribe to this channel. What I was shown belongs to every human being watching. Let me tell you about the specific kind of tired I was carrying that Wednesday. Not sleep deprivation tired, not physically exhausted tired. The specific, deep, accumulated tired of a person who has spent 15 years looking closely at human suffering for a living and who has begun, quietly, without admitting it to anyone, to wonder if looking closely is making things better or simply making the looker more comprehensively aware of how much is wrong. I had just finished a 14-month documentary project, communities fracturing along lines that used to hold. People on opposite sides of every conceivable division looking at each other with a quality of incomprehension that my camera had captured with an accuracy I found increasingly difficult to watch back. My editor, Simone, had asked me the previous week, over the kind of late-night takeout dinner that happens when a project is in its final stages and nobody has time to cook, what I actually believed about people. Honestly, she said, not the filmmaker answer, the real one. I had given her the filmmaker answer anyway. I believe people are complicated and worth the complication, I said. She had looked at me for a long moment. That sounds like something you used to believe, she said. I had not responded, because she was right. That Wednesday, I finished my final color grade session, packed my equipment bag, said goodbye to the post-production suite that had been my primary location for 6 weeks, and walked to the underground car park to get my car. The car park has a drainage channel along its eastern wall. The channel is 12 inches deep. I know this with the specific precision of someone who has since measured it, because 12 inches of water is exactly what it took. The underground car park beneath the post-production building on King Street West is not a remarkable space. Concrete. Fluorescent lighting that has the specific quality of fluorescent lighting that has been running for 20 years without replacement. Yellow-toned, slightly flickering in the far corner, adequate without being comfortable. The smell of oil and exhaust and the particular staleness of underground air. I had parked on level 2, Bay 47. I know this because I am methodical about parking. 15 years of working in locations where losing your car is a serious logistical problem trains you to note specifics. I was walking toward Bay 47. I was thinking about what Simone had said. That sounds like something you used to believe. I was not watching where I was walking with the attention the space deserved, because I was inside my own head, in the way that people who spend their lives observing other people sometimes forget to observe their own immediate environment. My foot caught the raised edge of the drainage channel. The specific physics of a stumble at the wrong angle, weight already forward, foot unable to recover, produced the outcome before my conscious mind had finished processing that a fall was occurring. I went down sideways. My head struck the floor of the drainage channel. The impact was sufficient. My body came to rest face down in 12 inches of standing water. And the 8 minutes that followed were not the 8 minutes of unconsciousness that the clinical account would describe. They were the 8 minutes in which I was shown something about the species I had spent 15 years filming that restructured every assumption I carried. Not from a camera. From the inside, a security guard named Thomas found me. He told me this in the hospital 2 days later, sitting in the chair beside my bed with the specific discomfort of a large man in a small chair who is trying to appear casual about something that was not casual. "I do that circuit every 20 minutes, he said. "You were lucky." "You were thorough," I said, which is not the same thing as lucky, but which was the more accurate description. He had pulled me from the channel, cleared my airway, and performed CPR with the training provided by a workplace safety program he had completed the previous year and which he had privately considered unnecessary at the time. "I owe you more than I know how to say," I told him. "You don't owe me anything," he said, in the way of a man who is uncomfortable with gratitude. "I just did what needed doing." "That," I said, "is the most important sentence I've heard in a long time." He didn't know what I meant by that yet. I will explain it in a moment. From my side of those 8 minutes, the drainage channel, the fluorescent light, the smell of standing water stepped back with the completeness of a cinema screen going dark between films. And what replaced it had a quality I spent 3 years finding language for. Not a different place in the geographical sense, a different register of reality. The way a conversation changes quality when both people stop performing and start actually speaking. Same room, same people, entirely different experience. Everything stepped back, something that had always been there, underneath every frame of footage I had ever shot, underneath every human face I had ever pointed a camera at, stepped forward. I have filmed people in the moments just after significant truth arrives. The face of a man who has just been told his son is alive when he feared otherwise. The face of a woman hearing for the first time that what happened to her was not her fault. The specific quality of a human face in the moment of genuine relief. Not happiness exactly, something deeper than happiness, something that involves the whole body relaxing a tension it had forgotten it was holding. Where I arrived felt like that face. From the inside, the specific relief of something that had been braced for a very long time against a very persistent pressure, finally releasing. "Oh," I said, not dramatically. The way a person says, "oh," when they understand something they have been working toward for years and the understanding arrives complete and quiet rather than triumphant. "This is what I've been filming toward," I said. Not to anyone, just the recognition landing. Because 15 years of documentary work, if I am honest about what it was actually organized around, was organized around this. The search for the thing underneath the human story. The quality that was present in every person I had ever filmed, regardless of their circumstances or their choices or their damage or their resilience. The thing that made them worth filming. I had always known it was there. I had never been able to name it. "It has a name," came understanding from everything around me. Not as a voice yet, as the place itself confirming what I already felt. "What is it?" I asked. "You are standing inside it," came the response. I looked at where I was, wherever I was, and understood. The thing that made every human being worth filming. I was standing inside its source. He arrived the way a subject arrives in documentary work when they finally stop being aware of the camera, not performing, not presenting, simply present, genuinely, completely, without management or agenda present. I recognized that quality before I recognized anything else about the presence. And then the recognition deepened. "You know who this is," he said. "In my work, I have filmed people of every faith and no faith. I have sat with atheists and mystics and everyone between. I have listened to more accounts of spiritual experience than most people encounter in a lifetime. I had always held my own position carefully, respectful of others' convictions, honest about my own uncertainty, unwilling to claim more certainty than I had. The uncertainty dissolved, not through argument, through the specific experience of encountering something that your entire nervous system recognizes before your mind has processed the encounter. Yes, I said. You have been looking for me in every face you filmed, he said. I felt that land with extraordinary precision. I didn't know that's what I was doing, I said. I know, he said. Most people who search for me don't know that's what they're searching for. They call it something else. Truth, meaning, the thing underneath, the quality that makes a face worth looking at. I called it humanity, I said. Yes, he confirmed. And you weren't wrong. Then what were you? I asked. In the faces? I was what they were made from, he said, and what they carry back to. In their best moments, in their genuine moments, in the moments your camera always knew were the real ones. Every face was reflecting something, I said. Every face, he confirmed, was reflecting home. Show me, I said. Show me what I've been filming. Before the showing, he said something. I have it written in the notebook I keep beside my bed. I wrote it the morning after returning from the hospital. Still in pain, still disoriented by the specific strangeness of being back in a body, but unwilling to let even one day pass without capturing the words exactly. He said, "You came here believing humanity was complicated and worth the complication. I want to show you what humanity actually is, and I need you to be willing to be more wrong about it than you have ever been willing to be wrong about anything." I sat with that. More wrong how? I asked. Wrong in the direction of underestimating, he said. Your 15 years of work has made you a precise observer of human failure. You know its textures, its varieties, its causes, its consequences. You film it with honesty and without sentimentality, and that is genuinely valuable. But, I said, but you have developed, through precision and honesty, and the accumulated weight of 15 years of close observation, he said, a specific blind spot. What blind spot? I asked. The good, he said simply. Not the performed good. Not the good that makes it into narratives and fundraising campaigns and award speeches. The actual, continuous, unspectacular, invisible good that is occurring at every moment in every city, in every human life, and that your camera, calibrated for the complicated and the painful, has been systematically missing. I felt something defensive move through me. I film truth, I said. You film partial truth, he said. Not unkindly, accurately. You have been showing people a humanity that is darker than the full picture. Show me the full picture, I said. That is why you're here, he confirmed. What he showed me was not a series of images. I need to establish that clearly because I am a visual person. My entire professional life is organized around the image. And the temptation to describe what I experienced in visual terms is strong. It was not visual. It was the experience of understanding humanity, the way you understand a piece of music you have been listening to. All its complexity, all its counterpoint, all its harmonic structure and dissonance and resolution. Suddenly audible simultaneously rather than sequentially. Not one note at a time. The whole composition. Heard whole. This is what humanity looks like from here? I said. From the perspective that sees all of it at once, he confirmed. I started and stopped, because the word I was reaching for was not a word I had used professionally in 15 years. Not a word I had permitted myself in documentary work because it was insufficiently precise and insufficiently nuanced and too easily confused with sentimentality. It's beautiful, I said. He was quiet for a moment that carried something I can only describe as gentle satisfaction. The satisfaction of someone who has been waiting for a specific person to arrive at a specific understanding. Yes, he said. Not despite the complicated parts, I said. Working through what I was experiencing. Because of all of it, he confirmed. The damage and the resilience, the failure and the recovery, the specific beauty of a species that keeps choosing love in circumstances specifically designed to make love unreasonable. We keep choosing it anyway, I said. More than you know, he said. Much more than your camera has been showing. Show me the specific discoveries, I said. 7 of them, he said, starting with the one that will change how you introduce every film you make from now on. The first discovery, he said, is the one your work has been built on the wrong version of. Tell me, I said. You have been operating, he began, on the assumption that humanity is broken, that the suffering, the cruelty, the division, the failure of people to live up to their own stated values, these are evidence of fundamental damage, of a species that was supposed to be better and failed to become it. That assumption underlies most serious documentary work, I said. The impulse is diagnosis. Something is wrong. Find it, show it, name it. And the assumption is incorrect, he said. Then what is the correct assumption? I asked. Humanity, he said, is not broken. It is unfinished. I let that sit. The distinction seems subtle, I said. Explain the practical difference. A broken thing, he said, requires repair. It was complete and is now damaged. The goal is restoration to a prior state. And the dominant story you tell about humanity, the one that underlies most journalism, most documentary work, most cultural narrative, is a restoration story. We were better and we fell. We are damaged. We need to recover what we lost. And the unfinished frame? I asked. An unfinished thing, he said, is in process. It has not yet become what it is becoming. The suffering is not evidence of fall from a prior state of completeness. It is the specific friction of a species in genuine developmental process. Growing pains, I said. Real ones, he confirmed. Not cosmetic ones. The growth that is occurring in humanity is genuine, costly, and visible if you know what to look for. And my camera has been looking for the wrong thing, I said. Your camera has been documenting the friction, he said, and missing the growth the friction is producing. The second discovery, he said, is the one that will be hardest for you to receive professionally. Why? I asked. Because it challenges the assumption that invisible events are less real than visible ones, he said. And your entire profession is built on making things visible. Tell me, I said, at this moment, he began. And I understood he meant the present moment in some form that encompassed all present moments simultaneously. The volume of human kindness occurring invisibly across the earth is overwhelming. I waited. Not headlining anywhere, he continued. Not being filmed, not being shared on any platform, not being recognized by any institution. Simply occurring, continuously, in the private moments between people that nobody outside those moments will ever see. Give me specific, I said, the filmmaker's instinct. A man in Osaka, he said, who has been sitting with his neighbor through a grief process for 7 months, visiting every Tuesday, not to fix it, not to advise, just to sit, and has told nobody about it because it would not occur to him that it was notable. A woman in Nairobi, he continued, who has been teaching a young girl in her building to read in the hour before her own work begins for 2 years. Nobody asked her to. She simply noticed it needed doing. A teenager in Manchester, he said, who found an elderly man confused at a bus stop last Thursday and walked him home 40 minutes out of his way and told his friends he was late because of traffic. I felt something move through me. This is happening constantly, I said. Constantly, he confirmed, at a volume that would overwhelm you if you could see all of it simultaneously. We never show this, I said. You show what breaks, he replied. You have been missing what holds. The third discovery, he said, is about the young. Tell me, I said. The generation currently between 15 and 30 years old, he began, is being described by the culture around them in almost entirely negative terms. Fragile, distracted, entitled, addicted to technology, lacking the resilience of prior generations. I've heard that narrative, I said. I've been part of it, honestly. The narrative is not only wrong, he said. It is the inverse of the truth. In what way? I asked. This generation, he said, is carrying something that no prior generation was asked to carry at their age. The full weight of global awareness. Every atrocity, every environmental crisis, every systemic failure, every injustice occurring anywhere on Earth, delivered to them continuously and from childhood. And they're still here, I said. They are doing something with it, he said, that prior generations who were protected from that level of global exposure were never required to develop. What are they doing with it? I asked. Holding it, he said. Not always gracefully, not always without damage, but holding it. A generation carrying the weight of global awareness and still, somehow, still choosing, in numbers that would astonish you, acts of genuine local love. The local love in the face of global despair, I said, is one of the most remarkable things occurring in humanity right now, he confirmed, and it is being completely missed by the people describing this generation. Because we see the struggle and miss the choosing, I said. You see the anxiety, he said. You miss the courage it takes to be anxious about the right things and still get up and do something about them. I have been filming this generation wrong, I said. Almost everyone has, he confirmed. The fourth discovery, he said, will change how you film loss. Tell me, I said. Grief, he said, is the most underestimated force in human development, and it is the force your culture is most systematically avoiding. We pathologize it, I said. We give it timelines. We treat it as a problem to be resolved. Yes, he confirmed, and in doing so, you have cut off access to the most reliable mechanism for genuine human transformation that exists. Why is grief transformative? I asked. Because grief, he said, is the experience of loving something so genuinely that its absence is real. You cannot grieve what you did not truly love, and the willingness to feel that absence fully, without rushing past it, without medicating it, without filling the space it creates with immediate replacement, that willingness is the door to the deepest growth available to a human being. A species afraid of grief, I said, is a species afraid of its own depth. Yes, he confirmed. And in 2026, something is changing in how humanity relates to grief. What is changing? I asked. The avoidance is becoming unsustainable, he said. The tools that have been used to prevent genuine grief, the constant stimulation, the immediate distraction, the cultural permission to move on quickly, are losing their effectiveness. People are being caught by their own grief, I said. Not as punishment, he said, as invitation. The grief that has been stored for years, for losses that were never fully felt, is beginning to insist on being witnessed. And when it is witnessed? I asked. When it is witnessed, he said, it does what grief was always designed to do. What was it designed to do? I asked. Open the person, he said, to what comes after the loss. Which is always, he added, more than they expected. The fifth discovery, he said, is the one your science is closest to confirming. Tell me, I said, when you say human beings are connected, he began, what do you mean? Metaphorically, I said honestly, Shared biology, shared evolutionary history, shared vulnerability. The empathy that allows one person to feel another person's experience. What if the connection is literal? He said. I paused. Literal in what sense? I asked. In the sense that what occurs in the interior of one human being, he said, produces real, measurable effects in the interior of other human beings, not through communication, not through observation, but through a direct connection that operates below the threshold of ordinary awareness. That is a significant claim, I said. Your science has partial evidence for it, he confirmed. The research on mirror neurons, the studies on emotional contagion that operates without direct contact, the documented effects of group prayer and collective intention, the data on how one person's physiological state influences another person's physiology in proximity. The evidence exists at the edges of mainstream science, I said. Because the mechanism is not yet fully understood, he confirmed. But the mechanism is real, and in 2026, as the collective interior condition of humanity shifts, the connection ensures that the shift propagates. Not through social media, I said. Not through news, through the direct connection. Person to person, he confirmed. The way warmth moves through a material, not by announcement, by contact. The shift spreading through the literal connection, I said. Faster than any communication platform can account for, he confirmed. And the people who shift first, I said. They become points of transmission, he said. Not because they intend to be, because the connection is always active. We are more entangled than we know, I said. Considerably, he confirmed. Tell me about 2026 specifically, I said. What do you know about phase transitions? He asked. A filmmaker who has made documentaries about climate systems and materials science knew the term. A phase transition, I said, is when a substance changes its fundamental state. Water becoming ice, water becoming steam. The molecules are the same. The behavior changes completely. Yes, he said. 2026 is a phase transition in the human species, he said. Explain the mechanism, I said. The conditions for the transition have been building for decades, he said. The accumulated internal pressure of billions of people living in a state of disconnection from their own interior truth, from what they actually value, what they actually need, what they are actually made for, has been building toward a threshold. And 2026 is the threshold, I said. 2026 is when the conditions cross the threshold that produces a change of state, he said. Not in all people simultaneously. The way ice doesn't all melt at once. The edges first, where the conditions are most advanced, and then progressively inward. The edges being the people who have already been doing the interior work, I said. The people who have been quietly honest with themselves for years, he confirmed. Who have already released the performance, who have already sat with their grief, who have already made the turn from appearance to substance. They transition first, I said. And their transition, he said, through the literal connection we discussed, influences the people around them. The phase transition spreads, I said. Through contact, he confirmed. What does the new state look like? I asked. Humanity operating, he said, from its actual capacity rather than from the fraction of its capacity that fear and performance and disconnection have been allowing. We haven't seen what we're actually capable of, I said. Not yet, he confirmed. 2026 is the beginning of the seeing. The seventh discovery, he said, is the one I want you to carry most carefully. Tell me, I said. He was quiet for a moment that felt entirely deliberate. In all of existence, he said, across everything that is and has been and will be, there is nothing like a human being. I waited. Nothing, he said again. Not in the sense of superiority over other forms of life, in the sense of specificity, the specific combination that a human being represents, consciousness capable of self-reflection, capable of genuine choice, capable of love that costs something, capable of creating meaning from suffering. This combination exists nowhere else in the same form. "We are unique," I said. "You are irreplaceable," he corrected. "Each of you. Not collectively, individually. Every single human being who has ever lived represented a specific, unrepeatable configuration of experience and capacity and potential that existed once and will not exist again in exactly that form." I felt the weight of that arrive completely. "Every person I have ever filmed," I said slowly. "Irreplaceable," he confirmed. "The people in the refugee camps," I said. "Irreplaceable," he said. "The people in the prisons," I said. "Irreplaceable," he said. "The people on the sides of every division I have ever documented," I said. "Everyone," he confirmed. I sat with that. "I have been filming irreplaceable things," I said, "and I have been framing them as problems." "You have been filming irreplaceable things," he said, "and the frame is about to change." "Because of what I'm being shown," I said. "Because of what you will be unable to unsee," he confirmed. "From this point forward," he said, "every face in your camera is carrying something you now know about." "What?" I said. "That it was worth everything it cost to make it," he replied. "I need something specific," I said, "for the people who feel like they don't belong here. Not suicidal, I want to be precise about that, but the ones who have always felt slightly out of place, slightly misaligned with the world as it is, as if they arrived in the wrong era or the wrong circumstances, or were made for something that doesn't exist yet." I was describing partially myself. He knew that. "These people," he said, "are among the most important ones in what is coming." "Why?" I asked. "Because the world they feel misaligned with," he said, "is the old state. The pre-transition state. The world organized around performance and disconnection and the suppression of interior truth. They don't fit that world because they were built for the next one," I said. "They were built at a frequency," he said, "that the current world doesn't fully recognize. And the dissonance between their frequency and the world's frequency produces the feeling of not belonging." "It isn't pathology," I said. "It is calibration," he confirmed. "They are calibrated for the world that is arriving. And the arrival of that world, the phase transition, the shift, will feel to them like finally coming home. 2026 is when they start feeling it," I said. "When the world begins moving toward the frequency they have always been operating at," he confirmed. "What do they need to know right now?" I asked. "That the feeling of not belonging," he said, "was never evidence that something was wrong with them. It was evidence," I said slowly, "that something was right with them." "In a world that wasn't yet ready for right," he confirmed. "Tell them," he said, "the world is getting ready." I thought the 7 discoveries were the complete account. The presence had other plans. "Temperance," he said. "Yes," I said. "Why documentary?" he asked. I had answered that question in interviews more times than I could count. I had a formed answer that was both true and safe. I gave it reflexively. "I believe in showing people what they don't see," I said. "In bearing witness, in the power of the honest image to create empathy across difference." He waited. "That is the professional answer," he said. I paused. "Yes," I admitted. "Why documentary?" he asked again, patiently, completely, without any indication that he would accept anything less than the actual answer. I went inward, honestly. The actual answer. "Because I grew up invisible," I said. "In a family where what was actually happening was never named. Where the performance was everything and the reality was managed into silence. And documentary," he said, "was the way I learned to make reality undeniable," I said. If you can film it, it is real. If it is real and filmed, it cannot be denied. You chose a career, he said, in making the invisible visible, because you spent your childhood being invisible. I had never said that out loud to anyone. In 39 years, yes, I said. And every face you have ever filmed, he said gently, was partly you looking for the thing that was never witnessed in your own childhood. I felt that move through me completely. Witness, I said. The thing you most needed, he confirmed, became the thing you most gave. I have been giving what I needed, I said. Yes, he said. And it has been real and it has mattered. And now I can receive it too, I said. Now, he confirmed, you know it's available. Thomas the security guard found me, 20 minutes into his circuit, Bay 47, face down in 12 inches of standing water. He pulled me out, cleared my airway, began CPR. He saved my life with the specific competence of a man who did what needed doing. The return was physical in a way that arrival had not been. Awareness reasserting its relationship with a body that was cold and in pain and deeply reluctant to be back in the specific indignity of a drainage channel in an underground car park. Sound first, Thomas's voice, controlled and urgent. Then wait, the cold floor, the smell of standing water, then pain. Then Thomas's face above mine, focused and relieved in equal measure. Stay with me, he said. Ambulance is on the way. You did what needed doing, I said. My voice came out barely audible. He blinked. What? He said. Earlier I told you that was the most important sentence I'd heard in a long time, I said. Now I understand why. He looked at my face. We can talk about it later, he said. Right now, just breathe. Yes, I said. And I breathed. And as I breathed, I looked up at the fluorescent lights of the underground car park. The yellow-toned, slightly flickering 20-year-old lights. And I saw something in them that I had not seen before I went in. Not divinity, not mysticism, just light, doing what light does, illuminating everything in its range without discrimination, without preference, without deciding that this corner is worth illuminating and that corner is not. Just light, falling on everything, including me, including Thomas, including the 12 inches of water that had just changed every film I would ever make. 3 years, I owe you the honest account of that. The first year I spent changing how I filmed, not the subjects, not the topics, the frame, the specific editorial choices that determine what stays in and what is cut. I went back through the documentary I had been finishing when I fell and recut it, not to make it softer, not to remove the difficult truth, but to include what I had been systematically leaving out. The invisible kindness, the unspectacular persistence, the faces of the people on both sides of every division who, outside of the framing of their division, were doing the ordinary, continuous work of holding their lives together with genuine love. The film won an award the following year. The citation mentioned its unusual quality of simultaneously showing the fracture and the holding. I had not previously understood those two things were always both present. The second year I spent sitting with the question he asked about why documentary, not analyzing it, sitting with it, letting the answer do what genuine answers do when you stop arguing with them. The third year I spent finding language for what I was shown, because a filmmaker knows that what cannot be communicated is not yet complete. The experience is the raw footage, the account is the edit, and the edit requires time and honesty and the willingness to cut what is beautiful but not true, and keep what is true even when it is uncomfortable. This account is the edit. 3 years in the making. The discovery I carry from those 8 minutes in a drainage channel in Toronto is this. Humanity is not broken. It is unfinished. It is beautiful in its unfinishedness. And 2026 is the year enough people begin to see that simultaneously. To change everything, Temperance Say, Toronto, Canada.